Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm his granddaughter, Ashlyn, and so I will be reading a couple of different letters from the Goodwill family and from my own. And so this one is from Lil Andre. He says, genuine, loving, Samaritan, funny, solid, family man, friend, but most of all, above all, my buddy. And this one's from DeAndre. Dear Papa, this letter is to you, a loving grandfather, whom shall live on through us as a family. In remembrance of what was and has always been important, and that is us as a family. Meaning we will continue to come together as you have always brought us closer together as a family. One thing you have always shown me is that blood could not have made us any closer. Love has been all you've given us and will always be remembered until we meet again. I love you. And then this one is from me and my siblings. It's a joint effort. It says, Dear Grandpa, as kids, we remember always going to your house for sleepovers. Anna specifically remembers having many tickle wars with you and your cousin, Andrea. Andrea wanted me to make sure that I let you guys know that Grandpa always won the pinch wars. And so, I don't know what that was about, but you always had a way of lighting up the room with your boisterous laughter and constant jokes. You were always a man that we could go to for some comic relief, and someone that we could always relate to with our family's constant sarcasm. Not only were you a man that we could go to for comic relief, you were also a man who supported his grandchildren. Whether it was through musicals or show-type performances, soccer, baseball games, you were always there to support us. You supported me through each of my own personal mission trips, especially my last one to Brazil. My last conversation with you was about your excitement about my Brazil experience and my upcoming graduation this May. I know if you could, you'd be there supporting me. Watching you support me and my siblings through various life events was special, but what was more special was watching you support hundreds of others who love church ministries. In May, I will graduate from Taylor with a double major in sociology and public health, with an orphan and vulnerable children minor with a concentration in urban studies. Although I didn't understand nor fully appreciate it at the time, God was instilling in me a love for the poor and needy through the example that you and my grandma gave me, that you gave each one of us to live by. Watching and learning about the vision that you had for the inner city of Fort Wayne has inspired me to not only graduate with the degrees I am, but to continue the vision and mission that you lived by. You saw the potential in all people, despite their life circumstances. You truly were a champion and advocate for the poor and the needy, and I hope to continue the work you started with not only how I live my personal life now, but after graduation. Thank you, Grandpa, for teaching us not only how to love all of God's people, but also to have a sense of humor while doing it. Thank you for teaching us to love to laugh, even if life circumstances weren't laughing at. Thank you for the example you gave us to each one of us to care for those around us in need. We miss you and we love you. Phil Mortensen.
Yesterday was a privilege. Honeytree was at Love Church, and to get a chance to introduce one of my childhood artists that I love listening to introduce her to my daughter to sing that song was such a blessing. Well, I'm going to ask you just to stand just for a moment. We're going to try to condense the rest of our time together. And so if you would just stand and maybe get the blood out or over or hit somebody or something. And then I'm going to ask you to turn your attention to the screen. And Matt, I'm going to have you come ready. We're going to have first a tribute from Steve Manning. Then it's going to be Matt Jacobs and Dennis Kelly. So Dennis, if you would come on up as well. I'm going to ask you guys to make your comments concise. We're going to adjust the video from Pastor Kelly. I'm going to summarize it, and then I'm going to have Pastor Wallace come to give a brief tribute, and then I'll give shorter words than I anticipated, but that's okay. So with that, please have a seat, turn your attention to the screens, and another tribute, this one coming from members of Love Church and our brother Steve Manning.
Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Manning, and I want to take out a little time to share what Phil Mortensen meant to me. I've known Phil for a long time, very long time, way back in Broadway when they had Bible studies for new members. Phil and Fran were in that Bible study with me, and that was way back, I think, in the 80s, I think early 90s. But Phil Mortensen and Love Church played a vital role in my life when I was going through just a very hard and challenging time. Back in 2001, I was struck with a mental illness, which caused me at one time to be homeless, suicidal, hospitalized several times. And after I got stable from the illness, I started attending Love Church. And the different thing about Love Church to me was there was a lot of unconditional love there. There was a lot of support for people who were struggling with disabilities, with mental illness, and suffering from poverty. Love Church played a significant role in my life because I was poor, disabled, and needed so badly to be encouraged, and the encouragement was there. Phil and I established a very close relationship. We had lunch once a month together, and I could always count on being encouraged by Phil. I can always count on laughing with him. I can always count on a good lunch. But the most important thing were those encouraging words. Had it not been for Phil encouraging me and loving me and pushing me forward, I don't think I'd be sitting here today. And today, I own a video production business. I should say a very successful video production business. I got my master's degree back in 2013. I travel all over the U.S. and parts of Europe telling my story of my successful rehabilitation. And Carriage House played a vital role in my life in certain areas. But Phil Mortensen and Love Church fulfilled the deep spiritual aspect of my rehabilitation. Phil Mortensen became a great father figure, a great mentor, a great pastor, and he filled so many empty voids in my life. I really enjoyed listening to him preach. I really enjoyed laughing and his jokes. One gesture that he used to do, he'd shrug his shoulders and grin real sheepishly when he would imitate certain people. And every time he did that gesture, I just died laughing. But Phil said so many things and did so many things that were funny. His second career could have been a stand-up comedian easily. So I'm really going to miss him. Most recently, when he moved down to Daytona, he and I would correspond by letters, share with each other what's going on. When I travel around the U.S. and different parts of Europe, I would send to him a refrigerator magnet that he would proudly put on his refrigerator, and I think he enjoyed that. So my heart goes out to Norma and Michael and everyone else in the family. My heart aches as well because we've lost such a great person, a great brother in Christ, a great father and uncle and friend. But you know what? I am so sure that Phil is having a great time now with the Lord. And that's what's getting me through it, knowing that he loved the Lord and now he's with the Lord.
Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Jacobs, and I thank God for Michael Mortensen. I believe it was 1988 that he introduced me to his parents, Phil and Fran Mortensen, and that started about a nearly 30-year relationship and friendship. And just like what Brother Stephen had said, and I heard another man say last night, Phil Mortensen was just like a father to me, and maybe to several of you others too. He was also a spiritual mentor, and he was a dear friend too. He was my pastor. He was just an all-around great guy. And so I got to do a kind of a fun activity with Phil. I'm known as the guy who went to college football games with Phil. Most of the games we went to were at Purdue, which is where I attended, and I root for Purdue. I cheer for that team. He, of course, is a University of Michigan fan, but we got to go to football games together. During this time, he was married to Fran, and Fran passed away. He got married to Norma, and we continued that tradition, annual tradition. And we would go to football games together. Most of the games we went to were in West Lafayette. He would just be attending, and he would cheer for Purdue when they would sometimes win or sometimes lose. But we'd always say at the end, well, it could have been a better game, but I still had fun going there. So we always had a good time. It's just one of those great memories that I have of Phil. And I'm not sure whether we're going to be watching college football up in heaven. Maybe some of you think that doesn't sound very heavenly to you, but I know that I can look back on those times and the memories and the great memories I had with Phil and the relationship that I was able to build with Phil. So, thank you.
My name's Dennis Kelly. Me and Pastor Phil was on did prison ministry for about 20 years. I remember this one time we went to this rest area. He always liked to take a nap in the back seat. But this time was something different. The guy in the blanket, he always had his blanket in his belt. But he went out and opened the trunk. So what are you going to do? He stepped inside and went to sleep. Or I remember one time is we there and he got his big order. He likes to drink. He had a big 40-ounce drink. He said, "Can you drink all?" "Oh yeah." All of a sudden the mom came out and all the pants looked like he peed his pants. But this one time, this one rest area was on 69. We stopped there. He led me to a dumpster. I said, "What's this dumpster?" He said, "This is where I posed to Norma." Norma, that dumpster's still there. Now, all the time I go by there, I always think about you and Pastor Phil. But then one time, I came out of church. All of a sudden, I seen something flying above his head. It was a white dove. And nobody else saw it. Didn't fly away, all of a sudden disappeared. The Lord showed me the Lord was watching over him. I always told him, be yourself. Thank you.
I think I could have stood and listened to a few more Dennis stories. Thank you, Dennis, for coming back from Michigan to tell when Dennis went to Love Church. Yeah, when Dennis came to Love Church, Dennis didn't know how to read. And he was 48 years old when he learned how to read, and it was through Love Church. And guess what? He learned how to read through reading the Bible. The King James, wow. Talk about the King's English. So, well, we had another video that Pastor Kelly Bird shared as well, but I'm going to make it a little bit more concise, if I can do that. And that Kelly gave tribute to my parents for their ministry in the inner city. And Pastor Wallace and Carla went down to Florida, and through a God-ordained set of events, through trying to love on their daughter and taking her to Florida. And so Pastor Wallace and Carla with my dad and Norma the night before he was received by Jesus. And Pastor Wallace showed him this video that was shown at the Love Church Ministries event, where Pastor Kelly Bird asked that people would support the continued ministry and the new vision for Love Church Ministries. And he gave it his seal of approval from Sweetwater, and we were just so grateful when I saw that video. And that's what the video would be. I'm going to ask that somehow Pastor Steve Manning, who's videotaping this, slices that video in so you can see it if you'd like to see it later.
20 years ago, as a young senior pastor here in Fort Wayne, I met an amazing couple who not only possessed but showed more love, compassion, and kindness than I'd ever seen in all my years. Phil and Fran Mortensen embodied the Lord's command to care for the needy and marginalized. And the way they modeled that care and the way the Love Church spread that care over an entire city and region was staggering. Food, clothing, much needed provisions, and the gospel were at the foundation of what they provided for thousands over the years that they served so faithfully. And yet what I see Pastor Wallace and the Love Church Ministries team pursuing today as they look to provide transformational family settings for foster care kids who are aging out of the foster care system is in some ways for me even more thrilling. The care and compassion that Phil and Fran modeled for the immediate needs of a community are legendary. And with that kind of heart, functioning as a rich foundation, Wallace and his team are reaching even deeper into the lives of a next generation and providing the home, the love, the training, mentoring, and development needed to truly transform the lives of young men and women who now will have a unique opportunity to live a different life, to experience a different future, and forge a new and redemptive path to a place never before realized in the lives of so many who have gone before them. My prayer is that tonight and in the days and months to come, you will support this effort with unwavering generosity, prayer, involvement, and energy. Come alongside Wallace, my friends, in whatever ways are needed, and serve this amazing team as they seek to transform an amazing generation to come.
But at this time, I want you to greet my dad's hand-picked successor for Love Church Ministry, the man that my dad loved as a brother. He's my brother from another mother, and he even has a gold tooth that we take great pride in. And he's the man who's going to be leading Love Church into the future with a new vision. And with that, please welcome Pastor Wallace Butts.
Once again, thank you. I'm going to just tell a few brief stories of my time with Pastor Phil. Through a series of events, I came to the Love Community Center And that's how I officially met Pastor Phil. He asked me to go to lunch with him. And after we had lunch, almost every other day he saw me, he said, "Brother, when are you going to take me to lunch?" And my wife and I were walking together one day, and she had heard this several times, and afterwards she said, "Will you take that man to lunch?" And that began a long, he mentored me in lunching, is what my wife likes to say. I'm an avid luncher now because of that. And as the ministry started to grow, the community center started to grow, he came to me one day, he said, "Brother, you're the kind of brother, I think you're the kind of man that I can turn this ministry over to." And we prayed through that, the executive leadership team prayed through that, and I went into his office one day because I was afraid of all of the other candidates that were considering being Love Church's leader. And I told him, I said, I feel like God is telling me that I'm the man. Now you need to decide whether or not I'm the man. He said, "Brother, I don't have to think about it anymore. You're the man." And, this is why I didn't want to say anything. I'm a crybaby. My earthly father and parents could not afford to give me anything. The house that my parents had was in horrible condition, and so even that wasn't too much of an inheritance. But from the moment that Phil adopted me as a son and started to mentor me for the ministry that he birthed and put blood, sweat, and tears in, I began to see him as a father. And not just in the sense of, hey, that was my dad kind of a thing. He encouraged my marriage. He encouraged my ministry. He encouraged me to be the kind of man. And I still remember he would say often through the ebbs and flow of ministry, "Wallace, you can get disappointed, but don't ever get bummed out." And whenever things get really tough, I go to that statement. I'm not bummed out, I'm just a little disappointed right now. And he invested in us. And so inheriting his ministry, and people talk about his shoes and filling his shoes, I don't think that's possible. I don't know another man who loves like Phil loved. I don't know another man who embodied that the way that he did. I certainly don't. I can share that with you. It's not, people say that's not my ministry. Love is my ministry. That's not my calling. But he certainly embodied love, and it was a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing, and it's something to behold and to look for and to strive towards. He loved everybody. He had a few issues with intense fellowship with some people, but he loved everybody that I know of. And I really appreciated that love. It came in a season of my life where I had been asking God for a mentor. And I had my criteria. I wanted an African-American man who, had some swagger. He, had a little, you know what I mean. And then Phil showed up. But you guys may not know this. After I complained to the Lord about him not being the kind of guy I wanted, I used to watch him walk. Phil had a pen. I mean, he just had a little bit, it's not exactly, a little bit more dip would have been good, but he had that swagger. I mean, he never tried to be black. He never, tried to talk black. He never tried to do that. He just was himself, and that was powerful, and it transcended race, and it transcended class. We grew up in totally different neighborhoods and totally different parents. My parents weren't pastors by any stretch of the imagination, but we had so much in common. And so over time, I could see God's heart and giving me Phil and giving me to Phil. And so, as Michael shared, in trying to honor our daughter to be invited by God to be one of the last people to see him on earth, that blows my mind. To when we got there that Sunday afternoon, Norma kind of leaned into us and she said, he hasn't really been himself. He hasn't been laughing and joking and all of that. And we went out to dinner and a waitress gave him a lot of material. She spilled a drink on our table. And by the end of the evening, he was, kind of jaunty, and he went to the bathroom and she leaned over again and she said, it's good to see him laughing again, and and so just to be a part of that, it amazes me, and it gives me a sense of awe that God has been orchestrating this. What Love Church was is what Carla and I have always envisioned about ministry. Love Church did a community center in a church. We used to call the ministry we dreamed about bootstrap ministries. And the concept was, people would say, this person or that person used to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And it's like, most people don't have boots or straps. And so somebody has to come alongside and be that for them. And that was the vision of Love Church when we got there. I remember as I was planning in my brain, because I'm an introverted kind of a person, planning in my brain about this training center called Love Auto Repair. And I was all smug, God humbled me a lot of times during our relationship, but I was all smug, the young up-and-coming pastor that's gonna, take this thing to where it's gonna be, and I designed this auto shop with training. And one day I found a schematic from 1997, and it was the exact same vision. Down to training, down to repairs, it was the exact same thing. And that gave me a sense of awe that God was up to something, that he had intended something from the beginning. And so it is with great pride and joy that I can say that he was a father to me, that he filled that void. Every man needs a father, that he did that for me, that he was a friend to me. And we disagreed about a lot of stuff, but he never let that bum him out. He was a friend. And Norma became a mother to us. We vacationed together. We got to vacation with the Hollingsworth family at the lake. And we went to Branson, Missouri. They invited us to Branson, Missouri. They never treated us like people that they were just, Phil used to joke that if he, didn't like somebody, he would give them Love Church. None of us thought that was true. None of us thought that was true. We know what that meant, what Love Church meant to him. And it meant that he made sure that he and I maintained relationship. And he orchestrated all of it. He led all of that. I was along for the ride, and I've appreciated God for the ride, and I appreciate God for the ride to come. To the Mortensen family, I say, you have a lot to be thankful for. You have a heritage that is yours, and may God bless you to fulfill that. And to Norma, I say, I won't say it, you know it. God bless you and we love you.
We're almost done. In fact, Pastor Wallace and Carla, I know that you have another appointment where you need to raise some money. So you go when you need to go, all right? So with that, I just want to celebrate my dad's life with just, many of you have heard of either Fellowship Bible Church or Love Church, but maybe you haven't heard all of the story, and I'm going to give this in a succinct fashion. My dad was born on February the 14th, 1945, in no other place but Blue Earth, Minnesota, home of the Jolly Green Giant, also the congregation where my grandpa, David Mortensen, and his wife, my grandma, Muriel, pastored. Dad spent most of his growing up years, though, in Pontiac, Michigan, thus his love for Michigan. Can't say it like Bob Buford, but my dad loved listening to Bob, the announcer. Of course, he loved the Tigers and the Detroit Lions. Fortunately, my grandpa persuaded me to be a Chicago Cub fan, and they are beating the Reds today. My dad was very happy for my beloved Cubs in 2016 to win the World Series. Due to severe asthma, my grandpa gave up a large Baptist church in Pontiac, Michigan, where my mom and her family also attended. My Aunt Peg is here today. To move to Denver, where he thought it would be better for my grandma. Showed the love that my grandpa had for his wife, that he would give up that large church to go to a pretty rough situation in the inner city of Denver. My grandma would almost die, so they moved from there to Wheaton, Illinois, where my grandpa worked for Moody Bible Institute. Perhaps part of my love for Christ-centered higher education. My dad told God, I won't be a pastor, I won't be a missionary. There weren't enough McDonald's overseas. And I won't live in the state of Indiana. Well, my dad was a pastor for 42 years in the city of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and served in the U.S. Army in Berlin, Germany. Initially, my dad wanted to be a broadcaster. He went to broadcasting school, and his first station, and I think his only station, was WDOG, W. Dog Sturgis. As Pastor Paul said, maybe the owner was dyslexic, and maybe it was really WGOD, W. God. But then Vietnam came along, so my dad enlisted, and miraculously he ended up in Berlin, Germany, with my mom, his friend who he had used, no joke, to drive my dad and his dates in her brand new car that he did not have. I think she charged him for $1.50. Ultimately, he asked her to marry him in the bowling alley parking lot after the church league. It was in Germany, though, that I arrived in the U.S. Army Hospital in 1969. President Nixon came to visit, not me, but the city, on that first day. I understand a family that goes to Norma's church, they actually had a child in that same U.S. Army hospital. My dad loved to say that I cost he and my mom a whopping $7.50, and that I was worth every penny. I must say I was a little bit distraught, though, when I actually found the bill here recently. I was only worth $7. The Army was a very transformative experience for my dad. After growing up in a very fundamental Baptist home where only his type of Baptists were going to go to their special heaven, he quickly learned in that Army that others loved Jesus much as he did, if not more. This rocked his world, but it also revolutionized the rest of his life and ministry. And in leading a GI from Brooklyn, New York, my dad, to Christ, even my dad agreed that he would become a pastor, which meant he needed to go to a Bible college. Dad would often say, I was magna cum laude to graduate from high school. So he was relieved when Fort Wayne Bible College would accept him, and this is where he started in September of 1970. Not wasting any time, he and my mom started their first church in an old storefront in the inner city, there on the corner of Pontiac and Calhoun Street. It's now a parking lot. Because on May 13th, 1972, he got a call saying his church building was on fire. In his first manuscript of his first book, that was typed by Elmer Slentz, who is back here on my right, your left. Elmer has been a family friend for years, and he's blind. And he typed my dad's first transcript. And in that first transcript, the title was entitled, I Quit. Fortunately, he did not. One professor at Fort Wayne Bible College told me, your dad was probably 10 years ahead of his time, as they were engaged in social justice and empowerment long before the millennial generation made it cool. Once my dad overheard one pastor tell another pastor, make sure you're good to Mortensen, because if he ever gets out of the ministry, his people could come to your church. While intended to be funny, it was true. FBC, and then in 1986, Love Church, these congregations welcome the least and the lost. In 1986, my parents felt a call to move to the inner city of Chicago, but our house would not sell. My dad had already resigned, and he moved, just he and I, to begin to get settled. He tried to sell insurance, but not until the last week did he sell anything. We came back and he applied at 150 different kinds of places for a job. A potato chip truck driver for Cyphers, a security guard. No one would hire him because once he was a pastor, they thought he'd always be a pastor and just wait to the next church. And frankly, we would have starved as a family without the body of Christ. And it was during that time we learned valuable lessons about demonstrating Christ's love to the poor and needy. And you couldn't just simply tell them, go get a job. After God did bless him with a flexible job with a Christian boss, my dad did go on to get his master's degree from Huntington University, where he was summa cum laude, or thank you Lordy, because he had a 4.0. I joke now that the only doctor I have in me is my initials, M.D. Mortensen. It was also at this time that we as a family started Love Church in Ralph Moon's living room. Grandpa Moon is here today. We had 33 that first day. And then we went over to 505 East Washington Street and had a 4,300 square foot building that formerly was the old unemployment office that my dad would go to get his measly food stamps. The story continues, but my time is limited. Read the book if you want the rest of the story. I had to get that in. It's on Amazon.com. Just look under Phil Mortensen, spell it right, Mortensen. Tell people it sounds like Mortensen, but my dad's a pastor, so it had to be E-N. That way you don't even think about the O. To speed forward, God richly blessed my parents, and after 12 years of paying $100 a month, they had to move. And God literally provided a 43,000 square foot building where Love Church Ministries is located today. Some amazing things are going on there, including the car repair, a child daycare, and soon a program to help foster children who are aging out of the system. In 2008, our lives took a significant turn as our mom passed away from colon cancer, and on November 30th, 2008. Then through eharmony.com, my dad met his Italian stallion, Norma, then living in Georgia. Oh, how he wooed her with his humor and telling her he had just installed a hot tub in his living room. That is no joke. Thank you, Norma, for knocking some sense into him and getting that thing out of here. In September 2009, they were married, and oh, how good they both were for each other. My dad adored Norma, and our family will always be grateful for her as she deeply loved my dad. Together they moved to Florida after my dad. He never liked the word retired. In fact, he'd get a little upset or a little touchy if you used the word retired. But he retired from Love Church in 2011, but he still served as an ambassador for the church that he loved. And even after moving to Florida, he continued to serve the poor and the needy. Again, because of time, I'll just put this in the YouTube video, but we actually have a video of my dad promoting a ministry not too far from their church that he was volunteering in his Hawaiian shirt, serving the poor and the needy.
Hi, I'm Pastor Phil Mortensen, and I attend Covenant United Methodist Church at 3701 Clyde Morris in Port Orange. I'm a retired pastor from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and once a month Covenant United Methodist Church joins with number of other religious organizations to come and help and feed the poor. at Halifax Urban Ministry. Every day they feed anywhere from 200 to 300 people, many who would not have a meal if it wasn't for this good ministry. So it's a privilege to show the love of Christ in a practical way to people that are in need. And I would just encourage everyone to get involved in Halifax Urban Ministry. It's a great ministry and they're doing a wonderful job. Thanks. Good to talk to you today.
Dad and Norma made many friends in their neighborhood. He taught Sunday school, started a Bible study, and still took a lot of people out to breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And ultimately, he made a ton of people's lives better through his humor. Speaking of which, I would like to show one more video clip featuring my dad. To set this up, as some of you know, many of you know, we adopted a little boy from Ethiopia that we call Jonathan Smiles. And Jonathan had a benefit because, we had a benefit for him because of his Batten's disease and the need for medical help and financial help for his medically associated issues. And so David Dean, a clean comedian, came and I asked that that Jonathan's teacher, Jonathan's principal, and that my dad be a part of this little skit. The little skit goes like this. I just got back from Miami. Guess what I got? And the first thing he gets is a basketball. So, David Dean says, I just got back from Miami. Guess what I got? What did he get? Basketball. Very good. Turn your attention to the screen and watch my dad in all of his glory.
Dad goes first. Always does. What'd you get? Miami. 30 years younger. You can't remember either. What'd you get?
A basketball.
David. Oh, David. David, I just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What'd you get?
A basketball.
Is that right? Phil, I just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What did you get?
I got a yo-yo.
Very good. I just got in from Miami.
Billy, what'd you get?
I got a yo-yo.
Justin, I just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What'd you get?
I was trying to make sure I got the right town.
Hey, David, I just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
I don't know, but Phil has 2 basketballs. What did you get, Mr. Hartland?
You got a yo-yo.
Phil, I just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What did you
I
get?
got a pogo stick.
From Miami.
What'd you get?
I got a pogo stick.
Mine's not working.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is, Erica.
Guess what? I just got in from Miami.
What'd you get?
A pogo stick.
I got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What'd you get, Mr. Hercules?
A pogo stick.
How you doing, Phil?
Tired.
Just got in from Miami. Guess what I finally got, Phil?
I don't really care what you
I got a hula hoop.
look at you. Chris, I just got in from Miami.
Really? What'd you get? He doesn't. I just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What'd you get? Just got in from Miami. Guess what I got?
What'd you get, Mr. Arklund?
A hula hoop.
Give these three a big round of applause.
Incidentally, if you would like to see that video again, just go to YouTube, type in Jonathan Smiles, David Dean. So make somebody else's day. I'm going to wrap up by just reading this last paragraph. It says, "Ah, Dad, you definitely made the most of life. You did more with your dash, the line between 1945 and 2017, far more than most who live longer. You lived a life of passion, vision, and love, and no matter what others thought, you embraced a hometown that you told God that you wouldn't live in, nor its state. But you made a name for yourself, well, more importantly, you made a name for your God. And along the way, you left a legacy of demonstrating Christ's love for the poor and needy. Well done, Dad. Well done. Welcome to your eternal reward. Enjoy your singing in the heavenly choir with the saints who have gone before us. Well done, Dad. Well done." The last song that my dad requested, I'm going to ask you to stand one more time, and then we have just a brief prayer video from Pastor Ron. We're going to ask that you stand and sing with us, "How Great Is Our God." This is one of my dad's songs that he chose and asked that we sing together. The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. He trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God, people said, Amen. Before Pastor Ron has a special concluding video, I just want to give special thanks to Love Church, to First Assembly of God, to our two sound techs, to Fellowship Missionary Church, to Tammy Swymiller, who used to play piano for me when we were both students at Taylor University. She's from Woodburn Missionary Church. Nancy Honeytree Miller, and to you, thank you for coming and celebrating in the life and service of my dad, Phil Mortensen. After Pastor Ron is done, you're dismissed. We thank you again for coming here, for your continued prayers. We really, really do appreciate each one of you and the little heaven practice we could have tonight to see Fellowship Bible Church, Love Church, and the body of Christ come together to honor a great man. With that, turn your attention to the screen. God bless you.
I'm so glad to join you by video for our great friend Phil. I've been thinking about him for the last couple of days and thinking he would love this. He would love being here and seeing all of his friends gathered. He would love the honor that's being given to him, and it's rightly deserved. We love Phil. He's impacted all of our lives in such wonderful ways. His joyful spirit, the fact that he knew more songs than God. He's just one that always had a kind word, a fun word. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he just didn't, zoom in this morning and come in and crack off a joke or two because of his love for people. We will miss him. The thing that I would encourage the family with, and we all know this, but encourage our hearts one more time, we'll see him again. He is with the Lord rejoicing, and we rejoice with him. We miss him. Our hearts are a little broken today, but we will see him again. God bless you, everybody. Enjoy the tribute to Phil.
Okay,